institutional correction. Our topic is all about institutional custody, security, and control. But before that, we go to diversification, its concept and importance. So diversification, as discussed into the former lecture, diversification defines as it is the principle of separating homogeneous type of prisoners that requires special treatment and custody. So special treatment, special custody, there is a classification of this diversification, or we have factors to consider to classify or to diversify prisoners or inmates, and these are the factors considered in diversification. We have age as the number one. Prisoners who are 18 years old and below should be segregated from the older groups to prevent the youthful offender from becoming hardened criminals. So, yung mga batang or those juvenile offenders or juvenile prisoners 18 and below should be segregated. Bakit? Kasi kailangan ihiwalay natin sila kasi para hindi sila maka-adapt ng mga professional criminals, or hindi nila may adapt kung ano yung mga ginagawa ng mga hardened criminals, yung mga professional criminals, or those who are matatandang kriminal. Yan yung term dyan sa Tagalog, yung mga matatandang kriminal or mga veteranong kriminal, yung mga gawain nila, para hindi sila ma-impluwensyahan. Yun, for them not to have the influence of becoming a professional or hardened criminal. So that is age. Next, we have your sex, or females and males are separated in separate institutions. So pang male, nasa New Bilibid Prison. Depende rin if it is maximum, medium, or as well as on the other penal facility. As well as all female are put into WIC, the Women's Institution, Women's WIC, Women's Institution. So they will be put all male on this institution, and they will be put all female on this certain institution. So magkaiba, or not magkaiba, inihiwalay natin. Yan, hinihiwalay. Next, we have medical or mental condition. On the sex, for correction, it is CIW, Correctional Institution for Women. CIW, yan. Correction Institution for Women. Correctional Institution for Women. Next, medical or mental condition. We have mentally ill, or those sexual deviates. Sexual deviants, yan. Physically handicapped, and hospital patients need to be segregated from the prison population because each group needs a special kind of treatment. Commonly, politicians have their hospital arrest, diba? Yung mga pagka na-booking na sila, commonly, ayan na, lumalabas na yung mga sakit-sakit nila, kung ano-ano ng tapal at kung ano-ano nang nakalagay-lagay sa buong katawan nila. That is the diversification. That is considered as diversification. Siyempre, mentally ill, hindi natin ilalagay yan sa penal facility, diba? But we will put it on a certain facility that the treatment for him or her would be aligned. Next, we have degree of custody. So, it is the most used factor for diversification. Why? Kasi that is the extent of strict keeping necessary for the person in confinement. This is kung natatandaan nyo pa yung degree of custody nyo, it is the maximum, medium, or minimum. So, titingnan natin kung maximum prisoners ba to, minimum or medium, kung saan sila ilalagay. Yan. Now, we have the classification process. This classification process is a process of determining the needs and requirements of prisoners before assigning them to programs according to their needs and existing resources. That is classification. So we have 4 separate but coordinate classification procedures. First, we have your diagnosis. So Prisoner's case history is taken and his personality is studied by the RDC, or the Reception and Diagnostic Center staff. Okay? So, next, we have treatment planning. This is the formulation of the tentative treatment program best suited to the needs and interests of an individual prisoners based on the findings of the Reception and Diagnostic Center staff. Next, we have your execution of the treatment program. This is the application of the treatment program and policies by the classification committee. So, this classification committee will be discussed later, both for jail and as well as for prison. Sino ba yung nagde-decide kung ano nga ba at paano? Next, we have your reclassification. So, execution of the treatment. Pag nag-success naman dito, or pag kompleto, as former discuss na to nung mga past discussion, that execution of the treatment program, if succeed or complete lahat ng documents and papers or information, would be good and necessary. But if the documents is hindi pa kompleto, or hindi pa buo yung hindi pa kompleto yung dokumento nung during his classification, and yet the documents arrive or the information arrive while execution of the treatment program was already been given, and then the RDC find out that we need to give him another treatment program because this is the best suited for him. Here we come the here. So dito na papasok yung pang ating number 4, which is the reclassification. The treatment program is kept current with the inmates' changing needs, and with new analysis, yun, may bagong information, may bagong nalaman sa kanya based on any information not available at the time of the initial classification committee meeting of the inmate cases or inmate's case, which continues from the time of the first classification until the inmate is released. He will be then subject for reclassification. So, maybe dadagdagan, babawasan, or ililipat mismo. This is reclassification. Next, classification board. So, yan. Every prison shall have a classification board that shall classify inmates according or determine the work assignment, type of supervision, and the custody which will be applied to the prisoners. We have the chairman for the prison and penal facility. So, this is the classification board. We have chairman. This is the superintendent. We have the vice chairman, which is the chief reception and diagnostic center. We have members, which is the medical officers, as well as we have chief education section, chief agro-industry section. We have the secretary, which is the chief overseer. Yan, sila yung magde-decide on what program treatment he will be undergone. Next, the classification board for jails. So this is the committee. We have the chairman as well, and this is the assistant warden. Next, we have the members. We have the chief security officer. We have the medical officer, as well as we have the chaplain and the social worker. Yan ang pagkakaiba ng jail and prison. So, chairman is the superintendent, while on the jail, the chairman is the assistant warden of the classification board. Next, we have this institutional security, custody, and control. So, let's define security. Involves safety measures to maintain orderliness and discipline within the jail or prison. That is security. It involves safety measures to maintain the orderliness and discipline. That is security. While prison discipline is the state of good order and behavior in prison. It includes maintenance of good standards of work, sanitation, safety education, health, and recreation. That is your prison discipline and security. Involves safety measures, maintain orderliness, peaceful prison, that is security. Prison discipline is the state of good order and behavior in prison, that is prison discipline. Okay? Yung feeling na merong good behavior sa loob ng prison, that is prison discipline. Yung feeling na safe sa loob ng prison, that is security. Okay, that is security. Now, we have preventive discipline. Is the prompt correction of minor deviations committed by prisoners before they become serious violation. How? They control. Why? How? It involves supervision of prisoners to ensure punctual and orderly movement to and from excuse me, from one place of work or assignment to another. This control. Control center is centrally located and elevated facility with good fields of observation. This is manned around the clock. Okay, so this is the control center, which is parang yung nasa panoptikan, yung merong isang gitnang watchtower, and then you can watch or you can see the movement of the field or the movement of inside prison or a certain area in the prison, which you can take advantage, which gives you bird's eye view, or which give you a view that is ma-maximize mo for you to be able to see the movement inside the prison or penal facility or jail. Next, aims of institution security and control. First is prevention of escapes, of course. Second is control of contrabands. Control of contrabands. Contrabands is anything that is prohibited inside a certain area. That is contrabands. Next is maintenance of good order, of course. Yeah. Next, contraband. Ayan, is anything that is contrary to prison or jail rules or regulation. That is contraband. Kung hindi bawal ang cellphone dito sa labas at bawal doon, that is contraband. Kung hindi bawal ang vices dito, like pag-inom ng alak or pagyoyosi, tapos bawal doon, that is contraband. Contraband. Yan. So, custody. Going back to contraband, we have the so-called Operation Greyhound. Okay? So, this is the raksakan ng mga prison cell habang wala ang mga inmates or nasa labas sila or doing their creation activity or recreation activity or their activity during the day kung wala sila sa loob ng cell nila, and then all officer or certain officer will go check every cell and then titignan kung it is in order or it is meron bang mga contraband na tinatago, and this operation called Operation Greyhound. Custody defined as guarding or penal safekeeping. This custody, it involves security measures, it involves locking, counting routines, procedures for searching prisoners and their living quarters, and prevention of contraband to ensure security and control within the prison. So, itong custody, this is the definition of custody. But on the real McCoy, custody is far away from reality. Yan. Note, the Prison Custodial Division is in charge of all matters pertaining to the custody of the prisoners and security of the institution. These are the Prison Custodial Division. Composition of the PCD or the Prison Custodial Division. We have your Chief Security Officer, usually with the rank of Inspector to Senior Inspector. They are the head of the Chief Security, they are headed by the Chief Security Officer, which are the Inspector or up to the rank of Senior Inspector, and then assisted by security officers are assigned as commanding officers of the 3 ship of guards and the escort company of the platoon. So we have 3 ships on guarding the prison. Later on you will know. Next, we have supervising prison guards. Take charge of the big group of guard details or several posts within the perimeter of the institution. Next, we have senior prison guards. They are the one to take charge of a squad or group of guards in work detail or escort guards assigned to important posts such as gate control, such as the control gates. Next is the prison guards. Yan. Lowest in the rank and assigned to man the sentinel posts guardhouse, and gates. So going back, we have prison guards, senior prison guards, supervising prison guards, we have security officers, and then chief security officers. Yeah. Functions of the custodial division: supervision of prisoners, maintain order and discipline, inspection and security escort, and they keep the records. Next, operational plans in jails or prison. This is the security, is still under security and control. We have the operational plans and in jails or prison. First, we have emergency plans. Second, we have plans in case of jailbreaks and escapes. Anong gagawin? Next, we have plans for violent disturbance or disturbances and riots. So, first group, they compose the initial anti-riot assault team. We have 3 groups. Their objective is to disperse the rioters and get their leaders. So, this is the first group, the assault team or the anti-riot assault team. Sila yung pag may nag-away-away sa inside prison, they are the first to act. Yan, the first group. We have the second group. They serve as the backup force of the first group. So, papasok ang first group, tapos natigil nila yung riot, okay na. What if hindi natigil? So, nagkagulo, therefore, first group need backup. Here comes second group. They serve as the backup force for the first group. First, for this purpose, they are equipped with tear gas and gas grenades. Yan. While the first group is equipped with batuta, mga ganyan. Second, third group, composed of guards trained on proper handling and use of firearms. So, this is the last group. They shall be, the objective is they shall be ready to fire when the lives of the guards are in peril or on order of the officer in command. So, that is the third group. Next, disciplinary board in jails. Sa jail naman tayo. The disciplinary boards for jails is organized and maintained for the purpose of hearing disciplinary cases involving violation of jail rules or regulation by the inmates. It shall be headed by and decided within 48 hours from the date of receipt. The disciplinary board has the authority to impose disciplinary punishment such as reprimand, temporary or permanent cancellation of some or all privileges. For example, is visiting privileges, recreational privileges, and other privileges. Next is extra fatigue duty or assignment to a disciplinary squad for manual labor. So, reprimand, kakausapin lang. Temporary or permanent cancellation of some privileges. Yan, matatanggalan ka ng mga privilege like visiting privileges. Yan. Or recreational. Next is yung extra fatigue duty. Bibigyan ka ng extra loads or extra duty inside prison. Yan. Close confinement in a cell which shall not exceed 7 days in any calendar month. So, this is Bartolina. Yan. This punishment shall be imposed only in the case of incorrigible inmate when other disciplinary measures are proven ineffective. So, yan. Last resort, ang Bartolina. Next, transfer to other penal institution. We have also partial or full forfeiture of good conduct and time allowance. Tatanggalan ka ng GCTA or babawasan ka ng GCTA because of the act you've done, to be earned for that month and subsequently month depending upon the gravity of the offense. So, yung during that month, babawasan yung GCTA or tatanggalin yung buong GCTA mo during the month. Alright. Next, I want you to note that instrument of restraint such as handcuff, leg iron, and straitjacket are not to be applied as a form of punishment. They shall only be used as a precaution against escape or on the ground of medical precaution to prevent the offender from injuring himself or others, as well as they use this in the escort duty. Yan. If the prisoners was subject for number 5, transfer to other penal institution as well. Okay? So, or visiting privileges na siya ang lalabas. Yan. They may be used the instrument of restraint. Next, composition of the board of the disciplinary board. Yan, disciplinary board is the chairman is the assistant warden. Members are the chief security officers, medical health officers, jail chaplain, social worker, or the rehabilitation officer. That is the composition of the disciplinary board, as well as discussed before. Next, I want you to note if the above composition is not feasible because of personal limitation, the jail warden itself may perform the function as the board summary hearing officer. So, the jail warden itself, yung pinakamataas, may perform the function as the board summary hearing officer. Siya pwedeng mag-decide. In case of the composition is not feasible because of the personal limitation. Exemption, jail warden may perform the function as the board summary hearing officer. Now, we go to punishable acts in jails. We have minor offenses of this is selling contrabands or selling or bartering which fellow inmates of items not classified. Selling or bartering which with fellow inmates of item not classified as contraband. So, ito yung mga authorized items or authorized things that can be possessed by a prisoner or jail prisoners. Okay? So, and then they are bartering. Papalitan sila or nagbebentahan sila. So, that is a minor offenses. Okay? Rendering personal, dahil yung contrabands is one of the major offenses yun. Rendering personal services to fellow inmates, that is also minor offenses. Untidy or dirty in his personal appearance, that is also minor offenses. So, littering or failing to maintain cleanliness and orderliness in his quarter and or surroundings is also a minor offenses. Making frivolous or groundless complaints. Making frivolous, lagi siyang nanghihingi ng kung ano-ano. Yan, that's making frivolous or groundless complaints. Or lagi siyang nagrereklamo is also minor offenses. Reporting complaints on behalf of other prisoners is also a minor offenses. Reporting complaints. Okay? Late information or duty without justifiable reason and willful waste of food is minor offenses inside prison. Now, we have less grave offenses. Failure to report for work detail without sufficient justification is less grave offense inside prison. As well as failure to render assistance to an injured personnel or inmate is less grave. So, failure to assist in putting out of fire inside the jail is less grave. So, they are also accountable to the safety of each other. Not only the security squad or the security or the jail officer inside prison, but the prisoners are also entitled to help in case of fire. Next, acting boisterously during religious, social, and other group function. Yeah. Next, swearing, cursing, or using profane or defamatory language directed personally towards the other person. It is either the inmates or it is either inmates or the security. So yan, that is less grave. Next, we have malingering or reporting for sick call to escape work assignment. Yung nagkukunwari na may sakit, nagsasakit-sakitan, that is malingering. So that is also less grave. Spreading rumors or maliciously intriguing against the honor of any personnel or honor of any persons, particularly member of the custodial force. Yan. Failing to stand at attention and give due respect when confronted by or reporting to any officer or members of the custodial force. We have also forcing fellow inmates to render personal services, as well as yung forcing, okay? So, forcing fellow inmates is less grave, while you are rendering personal services by yourself, not being forced, is minor, okay? Minor offenses. May less grave naman if someone forces you. If I am forcing you pala, yan. if I force you to do this kind of work. Next, exchanging uniform or wearing clothes other than those issued to him for the purpose of circumventing jail rules. Loitering or being in unauthorized place. So, using the telephone without authority for the desk officer. From the desk officer. We have vandalism. We have also withholding information with is inimical and prejudicial to the jail administration. We have also possession of lewd or pornographic material. So, yung mga sexy pictures. Yan. We have also absence from cell or brigade or place of work during head counts or at any time without justifiable reason. Failing to turn over any articles issued after the work detail. Committing any acts prejudicial to or which is necessary to good order and discipline. Now we have your grave offenses. Making untruthful statement or lies in an official communication, transaction, or investigation. We have keeping or concealing keys or locks of places in the jail where it is off limits to prisoners. Giving gifts, selling to or bartering with jail personnel is grave offenses. Keeping in his possession money, jewelry, or other contraband which the rules prohibited. Oh, bawal pala to. Giving gifts, selling to or bartering with jail personnel is a grave offenses. No. Now, tattooing or allowing himself to be tattooed on any part of the body or keeping any paraphernalia to be used in tattooing is a grave offenses inside prison. So, parang hindi Forcible taking or extracting money from fellow inmates or from visitors is grave offenses, as well as punishing or inflicting injury or harm upon himself or other inmates is grave offenses. Receiving, keeping, and taking or imbibing liquor or other prohibited drugs. Making or improvising or keeping any kind of deadly weapons. Concealing or withholding information on plans of attempted escapes. Unruly conduct and behavior and flagrant disregard of discipline and instructions. Escaping, attempting to or planning to escape from the institution or from any guards. Helping, aiding, or abetting other to escape. Fighting, causing any disturbance or particularly participating therein and or agitating to cause such disturbances or riot, as well as indecent, immoral of or lasciviousness acts by himself or others and or allowing to be subject of such indecent, immoral or lascivious acts. Naguhubad-hubad, ganun. That is immoral or lascivious acts. Okay? Hubad na buo. Yan. Acts and disrespectful manner toward any officer or member of the custodial force. Willful disobedience to a lawful order issued by an officer or member of the custodial force. Lawful order, okay? Hindi yung unlawful order. Okay? Kung lawful yung order and they are unwilling or they are willful disobedience to the order, to the lawful order, that is grave offense. Pero kung hindi naman lawful yung order, if it is unlawful, therefore that is no offense at all. Assaulting any officer or members of the custodial force is grave offense, as well as damaging any government property or equipment issued to the inmates is grave offense. Participating in any kangaroo court, ito yung nagbubugbugan sila, unauthorized or irregular court conducted with disregard for or perversion of legal procedures as a mock court by inmates in jail or prison. Okay? Affiliating oneself to any gang or faction whose main purpose is to foment regionalism or to segregate themselves from others. We have 22, failing to inform the authorities concerned when afflicted with any communicable disease like VD or etc. Yan, communicable diseases. So, ngayon, yan, COVID. Engage in gambling or any game of chance. committing any act which is in violation of any law or ordinances, in which case he shall separately be prosecuted criminally in accordance with the law. Now, we go to treatment of special offenders. So, special offenders includes women offender, drug addicts, alcoholics, mentally ill person, and sexual deviant person or sexual deviates. Including also escape-prone prisoner, mga magagaling, parang El Chapo. Yan, suicide risk prisoners, the handicapped, aged, and infirm, youth offender, and alien inmates. Alien inmates is any person that is not a Filipino citizen, or they are alien inmates, or they are alien, and if they commit crime, they are alien inmates. Under rule number 5 of the BJMP manual, it states that unusual offenders should not be held in jails or prison with the common jail prison population, but they should be segregated in other institutions as their temporary detention houses. So, pre-release treatment of offender, it is a program specifically designed and given to a prisoner during a limited period prior to his release from prison. So, ganito yan. Pag lalabas na siya sa prison, matatapos niya na yung sentence niya, he will undergo pre-release treatment pre-release treatment procedures. So, this program will specifically designed and given to a prisoner during a limited period or prior to his release from prison. So, later on, malalaman nyo how long. In order to give him an opportunity to adjust himself from regimented group, kasi head counts, kasi nakataps to rebelly ang schedule sa prison or inside the prison. Pag gising nyo hanggang matutulog kayo, merong scheduling. Okay, may head count for every, para siyang regimental. It is regimental way of life. You are living in the world which you follow commands. You follow order, time, you follow order and orderly. Yan, that is regimental. So, bago ka lumabas ng prison, syempre, or dito sa labas ng prison, in the community, hindi naman tayo gano'n, hawak mo buhay mo dito, di ba? So, inside prison, they are regimental. Okay? So, for you to be able to cope up, going back to community, and exiting regimental life, you go pre-release treatment. So, yan, ito pala, separation and placement center. An inmate shall 30 days before his scheduled date of release. Yan, 30 days, tama. 30 days be transferred to the separation and placement center to prepare him for re-entry into free society. That is one of the program of the pre-release treatment. Pre-release seminar is also conducted. All inmates eligible for release shall undergo 1-day seminar in preparation for his life outside prison. Leaves from jail. Leaves from jail shall be allowed only on very meritorious cases, like the following. Ito, that leaves from jail not on the release. Okay, you are just leaving the jail for the purpose of something. Yan, leaves from jail shall be allowed. You are not released, but you are just leaving it for a certain days or a certain hour. Okay, and then it is allowed only on very meritorious cases, like the following. Number 1 is death or serious illness of spouse, asawa mo, father, mother mo, brother mo, sister mo, or mga anak mo. That is number 1. Number 2, the inmate is allowed, that is the leaves from jail, which is that ng serious illness ng mama mo, papa mo, kapatid mo, na lalaki o babae, may anak ka, o yung asawa mo. Yon. The inmate is allowed to view the remains of a deceased relative only if the remains are within a 30-kilometer radius by road from the confinement facility, and the actual stay of the inmate to view the remains should not exceed 3 hours. Okay? naka-instrument of restraint ka dito, of course, and you have also escort. And it should only given if the radius of the deceased relative is only or is within the 30 kilometers radius. So ito yung prison, nasa gitna yan, bilog ka, tapos yung buong bilog na yon, it is a 30 kilometers radius. Kung pasok doon, therefore pwede, pero kung labas doon, nag 31, no more. Okay, it is 30 kilometers radius only. Pag nag 31, hindi na. Number 2, inmates who are seriously ill, injured may be given leave for hospitalization or medical attendance under proper escort if the medical facility inside prison cannot handle. Okay? Kung hindi na nila kaya or hindi nila kayang i-treat doon, pwede kayong lumabas. Pwede kang ilabas. Okay? However, leaves of detention prisoners shall require prior approval of the court having jurisdiction over them, over the person. Okay? Then, provided, however, that in cases of life and death, the warden on his own discretion may allow any inmate hospitalization, medical treatment. That is the discretion of warden in a life and death situation. Pero kung hindi naman, hihintayin ang approval ng court na mayroong jurisdiction na mayroong jurisdiction sa'yo. Yung court na nag-decide na dun ka ilagay or yung court na nag-decide na dun ka magsuserve ng sentence mo. Next, manner of releasing prisoners. Prisoners may be released by, we have this, 6. Service of sentence, sinapos mo yung serbisyo mo. Tinapos mo yung iyong punishment. Order of the court, pinalabas ka due to order of the court. Napaaga or napaaga. We have also parole given by the Board of Pardon and Parole. That is parole. We have pardon given by the president. We have amnesty. We have any lawful order of contempt authority. Amnesty commonly is given to the political offenders. Political offenders. Amnesty. Okay, that is amnesty. So later on, mapag-aaralan nyo yan sa non-institutional correction. But on a bird's eye view, pardon is only given by the president. Anytime na-convict ka yun, pwede kanyang i-pardon agad-agad ngayon. Okay, that is pardon. Parole, you must serve a part of your sentence. For example, you are sentenced 20 years. At least you serve part of it, half of it. Pag sinabing part, half. You serve 10 years of it, and then you are now eligible for parole. Amnesty naman, kailangan ikaw ay political offender. Okay? As well as there will be a concurrence of the Congress. Ipapa-approve pa sa Congress kung bibigyan ka ng amnesty. Later on, that will be discussed on your next subject, of course. That is non-institutional correction. Non-institutional correction. Now, any lawful order or of competent authority. Note, if feasible, an inmate shall be notified of his release at least 1 week before the date of such discharge. Okay, no inmate shall be released on a mere verbal order or telephone. No, it always undergo procedure. Okay, meron niyang black and white na tinatawag. Meron niyang laging release paper, release paper, and etc. Release order pala. Release order. Okay? Shall bear the full name of the inmate, the crime charge, the number of the case, and such order details as will enable to releasing officer to properly identify the inmate to be released. Now, you also have your certificate of discharge. This shall be issued to the released inmate by the warden or jailer. Who may authorize release? We have Supreme Courts or lower courts in cases of acquittal or grant of bail. We have also President of the Philippines in cases of the executive clemency or amnesty. Executive clemency, that is pardon. One part of part of the executive clemency, or one of the executive clemency is pardon. Okay, pardon. Next is Board of Pardon and Parole. Okay, Board of Pardons and Parole in parole cases. Okay, sila ang nag-i-issue naman yan, which now is director, or the director upon the expiration of sentence of inmates. Yan. Alternatives to jail confinement. We have segregation of special offender to other institution, payment of fines, extensive use of probation. Yan, probation, you are under probation. Okay, you already accept that you committed the crime, okay? But if your punishment should be, if you if your punishment is not exceeding 3 years, okay, 3 years, and then you are subject, or you can avail probation as well, but you are somehow accepting that you committed the crime. Pero kung you already committed the crime naman talaga, and then you are eligible for probation, okay, why not, diba? It is outside prison confinement. It is non-institutional treatment base. So, why not, diba? Also, bail, yan, diversification as discussed before, and delay sentence. So, that is the third part discussion of your institutional correction.